the BRICS talking about a gold-backed system, the expansion of the Shanghai Metals Exchange, how important gold is. They said last year they agreed in principle to a settlement currency called the unit, which was 40% gold-backed and redeemable. They're going to do it. I think someone told Trump, we need to do it, because since November, the amount of gold coming into this country is off the charts. I mean, really off the charts. I don't know if you noticed, but just the first 3 days of this August contract, 20,126 contracts stood for delivery.
Yeah.
100% of all the contracts that were posted have stood for delivery. Now, I know you remember most of your career, most of my career, less than 1% of contracts stood for delivery. And now 100% of them have stood for delivery in the first 3 days. That's $7 billion worth of gold standing for delivery. And a lot of it's leaving the ecosystem. It's loading out of COMEX. Over $100 billion in gold has come in since November that we know of through the COMEX. Who the hell's buying it all?
The BRICS nations have actively discussed creating a settlement currency known as the unit, proposed to be 40% backed by gold and intended as an alternative to the US dollar. While conceptually intriguing, no concrete plans or launch dates have been confirmed for its implementation. COMEX has experienced a dramatic shift. Historically, fewer than 1% of futures contracts resulted in physical delivery. However, in early August, 100% of the first 20,160 contracts stood for delivery, equating to $7 billion. Even more striking, since November 2022, over $100 billion worth of gold has flowed into COMEX, marking the most substantial inflows since the post-World War II Bretton Woods era. Andy Schectman, president of Miles Franklin Precious Metals, says America's reserve currency status has brought cheap goods and low interest rates, but at the cost of losing manufacturing, relying on imports, and accumulating debt. In an interview, Judy Shelton noted the U.S. holds 261 million ounces of gold. A brilliant thing for America's economy would be for the Treasury to issue a 50-year gold-convertible security, which, at maturity, could be exchanged for a fixed amount of gold. Shelton hopes to see this done on July 4, 2026, on the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Up to $2 trillion a year in stablecoins will fund short-term, up to 2-year treasuries at low rates, while the long end of the curve will be backed by gold. These bonds would allow holders to redeem them in a fixed amount of gold at maturity, offering a dependable approach to restore fiscal and monetary stability. The Genius Act requires dollar-pegged stablecoins to be fully backed by liquid assets and to undergo monthly audits. With firms like Bank of America and Fiserv entering the space, stablecoins, already holding $166 billion in treasuries, could reach $2 trillion by 2028, boosting liquidity and lowering U.S. borrowing costs. While this doesn't signal a soft default on the dollar system, studies show stablecoin demand significantly suppresses short-term yields. As we present clips from the video, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell to stay instantly notified every time we upload a new video. Thanks for the support and enjoy the video.
We are the largest debtor country in the world right now. So the problem is that for all of these years we've had, because we've expected the world to take our dollars and put reserves into treasuries, we've had low price goods at Walmart and Target, and we've had high asset prices and low interest rates. And so that's been the benefit, but at the expense of losing our manufacturing base. And we don't make anything anymore. And, you know, he is putting tariffs on all of these countries, including our allies. He's putting tariffs on pharmaceuticals, yet we don't make them. He's trying to bring as much back as he can. But how do you get to that point when we're 28 trillion, we owe 28 trillion in 3 years in maturing treasuries with a 15 trillion in tax revenue over that time, not to mention the 3 trillion a year in deficit spending? That makes 2837 with 15 trillion tax base. So the inflation that must happen in order to pay this debt, I think, is something the world is seeing. This is along with the coercion. If you do this, and I'm going to put 100% tariff on you. This is what is pushing everyone towards the BRICS. Now, I can get to where I need to go on this and explain to you my thesis, but I really do believe that the world reserve currency at this point is not something that is in the best interests of a country where 60% of its population has no college education, and AI is going to kneecap much of the white collar business. So where is everyone going to make a living? We need to put them back to work, and that would be through manufacturing. We need it for our own national security anyway. And how do you do that in an environment of inflation? How do you do that where it left for a reason? You bring it back under this environment and the cost of goods goes parabolic. The shelves become half empty. You get the Great Depression. And so that's where this all ultimately goes, in my opinion. And it's all related to backing of the treasuries with gold. And it's all related to the stablecoin bill. And I can, if you want, we can go down this path. I'm happy to. But okay, here's my thesis in a nutshell. You know, little by little, the name of my show, well, little by little, all of a sudden, stable coins are everywhere. Where the hell were they 2 years ago? No one knew stable coins. Trump was saying, Jamie Dimon was saying that crypto's a scam. And why would and now all of a sudden, bam, right in your face, little by little, then all at once, stable coins are everywhere. You're going to see corporations around the globe issuing stable coins. JP Morgan just announced a partnership with Coinbase, and they're going to allow the bank accounts to link with your crypto account, and you can trade your Chase points that you got for using your credit card into stable coins right through Coinbase, which will be linked one-to-one or real damn close to it to U.S. Treasuries. The issuance of all of these stable coins and saying it's much easier and much quicker and blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's true. But I believe that Besant, who said we're going to go very big on stable coins, up to $2 trillion a year, will be used to load the front end of the yield curve, up to 2-year duration in Treasury, low rates. But the constant use of these stable coins will do just that. Now, what happens to the back end? The back end, to me, will be backed by gold. Now, Judy Shelton said to me on my show with her, and she's been saying it again lately, that July 4th next year, 2026, is a big day for Trump, a huge day, and it's the 250th anniversary of the country. And she said, Andy, he will issue gold-backed treasuries at that point, redeemable in gold. And I said, Judy, do you think gold will be revalued? It's held in the gold revaluation account. And not in so many words. She said, yes. Now, when we're done with this, I want to get your opinion on what you think about gold revaluation. But James Rickards comes up with a number of near 24,000. He does that by dividing the money supply into the gold. And well, if that happened, I'm just saying if it did, that would give the Treasury general account about $6 trillion free and clear, as every $4,000 increase would give the Treasury $1 trillion. Every $4,000 increase gives the Treasury $1 trillion free and clear. They would issue those certificates to the Fed, who would print the money out of thin air and give the money to the Treasury. Now, the certificates and the gold that they hold only gives credit or claim on the dollar value of the gold, not the gold itself. That belongs to the American people. So that it's an accounting gimmick. But the printing of all of that money in James' case would devalue the dollar by over 60%.
With the introduction of 2 new yuan-denominated gold contracts and the installation of a bullion vault in Hong Kong run by Bank of China's local branch, the Shanghai Gold Exchange has made its first foray outside of mainland China. This action aims to enhance Hong Kong's standing as a financial hub, increase China's global influence over the gold market, and promote the use of the yuan in cross-border trade. To mitigate seizure risks comparable to those faced by Venezuela, the SGE plans to establish additional multi-jurisdictional gold vaults, initially in Saudi Arabia and subsequently along the Belt and Road. Trading will be resolved in cash or by physical delivery, and vault costs will be eliminated until the end of the year. The BIS Innovation Hub and central banks from China, Hong Kong, Thailand, the UAE, and later Saudi Arabia developed mBridge, a multi-CBDC platform. It reached the MVP stage in mid-2024 and is now entirely run by participating central banks. BRICS Pay, meanwhile, is a separate decentralized payment system for BRICS nations. There is no verified link between mBridge and BRICS Pay. Claims of integration across the EAEU, BRI, or SCO, reaching 90% of the world, lack evidence. Reports suggest such claims are exaggerated or premature. Let's get the interview started now.
The yuan is now immediately convertible into gold on the Shanghai Metals Exchange in yuan. And they're building their vaults that we've talked about, the multi-jurisdictional vaults. First one in Hong Kong, the next one under construction right now in Saudi Arabia, and then throughout the whole Belt Road. To me, that is the skeletal system of what they're trying to do. And to your point, yes, you don't have to convert to dollars first. So it's trading across the bridge technology, mBridge, which is now the bridge, or the renminbi cross-border payment system, which will then settle imbalances in gold without converting to dollars first. To your point, it's backing the currency. This will not back the currency. They're going to destroy the currency. This will back the Treasury. And then eventually we grow our way out and maybe get, our currency act in order once we start to pay down our debt. So one is backing the system, one is backing a currency. I think they both are unique and interesting to go down the rabbit hole and think about it. But one of the things that I found very interesting, to your point about what the BRICS are doing, Andrew, and I haven't heard a lot of people say this, is that, so they came out, China did. Now, first, the key to all this is building all these multi-jurisdictional vaults. Ask Venezuela about that. When their gold was held in the Bank of England, no, we're not going to give it to you. So now you have vaults all over the place where each country will sprinkle gold amongst these vaults in theory to spread out the jurisdictional risk. But one of the things that's interesting to me is China came out about a month ago, Andrew, and said, we have connected our bridge platform, which is in essence mBridge, to the 11 Asian countries, ASEAN, the countries in Southeast Asia. They're operational, and 5 Middle Eastern countries. Now, this represents 38% of global GDP. Now, I want to read something to you, an article that came out of Forbes just the other day. And I made a big deal about this on every single podcast I was on, saying they've connected the bridge network to 38% of global GDP. It's operational. It's working, these Asian countries. And what's really, really interesting is the article that just came out of Forbes. And let me just read this to you. It says, Forbes pointed out that China is now just the third largest trade partner for the United States, and a distant third behind Mexico and Canada. In the month of May, China was less than 6% of U.S. trade, which was the lowest level in over 20 years. Then you have the Asian countries, ASEAN. Again, these are the countries Southeast Asia. And together, they have a population over twice as large as the United States, nearing 800 million people. These are also some of the fastest growing consumer markets in the world with a fast growing middle class. And this group of countries, wait for it, is now China's largest trading partner by far, way ahead of the European Union and the United States. We did 6% of trading with China. They're doing almost 20%. And they're their largest trading partner. These countries in Southeast Asia are now connected to the mBridge and settle imbalances in gold. And I said that they're going to issue it to the Belt Road Initiative. They're going to. You watch. But I just heard something. The BRICS Pay, the gentleman was being interviewed, the guy that designed it, and their CEO. And he said they are right now, this is B2B, this is retail. It's like a credit card where you can spend in any of the BRICS countries seamlessly, B2B or small bank to small bank, consumer to business, whatever, retail. He said, we are now, right now in China, negotiating to roll this out on the Belt Road. And he said, and in a few years, BRICS Bridge and BRICS Pay will be connected. They're going to roll it out to the Belt Road, which is 155 countries, 75% of human population. They're going to roll it out to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. They're going to roll it out to the Eurasian Economic Union. Why do I say that? Because Sergei Lavrov just came out and said, this technology settles in 7 seconds. It is free from SWIFT interference. SWIFT takes 3 to 5 days. It has a 98% reduction in fees, and we're opening it up to the rest of the world. And by the way, it's not compatible with the dollar, the pound, or the euro. They're opening it up to all of these countries. So everyone focuses on the BRICS. Not big enough, Andy. Not substantial enough, Andrew. Well, sorry for the language. I'm just simply saying, you now, if Lavrov says you open it up to 90% of human population, and and allow them to trade outside SWIFT on a retail level and on a central bank to central bank level, with imbalances settled in gold at that level through a multi-jurisdictional set of vaults. You see, when the BIS pulled the plug at the 12th hour on Enbridge, embarrassing them the way they did, say, we can't be part of a technology that allows any country to sidestep Western sanctions, pretending that they just realized that Russia was the R in BRICS.
Global finance is shifting as BRICS explores a partially gold-backed settlement currency, stablecoins grow into a trillion-dollar treasury market, and China expands its gold infrastructure to strengthen the yuan's role in trade. While innovative ideas, such as gold-convertible treasuries and multi-CBDC platforms, signal a move toward diversification, many proposals remain in early stages, with uncertainties about their actual impact on the dollar-led system. Could a gold-backed BRICS currency realistically challenge the dominance of the US dollar in global trade? How might the rise of stablecoins and platforms like Enbridge reshape liquidity and monetary policy worldwide? Please participate in the discussion and leave a comment below with your thoughts. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe for more videos. We value the time you spend watching and your support of our station.